Okay. All right. Hello, hello. Looks like 6 o'clock on the dot. Right now, I'm here on my own. Hopefully, some people join. Like last week, had some late stragglers. We had a fun hour. Let's look at the stream health. Everything is looking good. Again, I forgot to connect to my Ethernet cable, so I'm streaming from Wi-Fi, but it was fine last week. So hopefully it's fine again today. All right, everything looks good. Wait for some people to hop in, pull up my early 21st century romanticism synopsis from Wikipedia. So we'll probably talk about this when more people come on. And I got that up so I could talk about that a little bit. But yeah, here we are, just waiting. Give it a couple minutes and then I'll just probably start talking about a topic that I wanted to quickly chat about regarding Marvel and things like that. More so about clickbait, YouTube thumbnails, and stuff like that. So that's something that like upsets me because nothing really bothers me. It's just weird, I think, sometimes, but all right. All right. So I guess I could just start talking about the Marvel thing because it's only, well, hopefully it's only a couple of minutes, but it's not only with Marvel. So I guess it's clickbait in general. I notice a lot of channels, whether it's YouTube or even just websites that have Twitter handles and things like that, they'll post articles, which is fine. That's their jobs. That's what they get paid to do. But they never, well, not never, more than not, they frame the article through the thumbnail and the title in a negative light for obvious clickbait. And I don't know, I just don't get it. Whenever I want to talk about something, even if there's things that I don't like about it, I don't know, personally, I wouldn't want people to view it in the guise of it's something negative. Kind Assassin gives me a wave. Hello. Um, I haven't been on YouTube long enough to know if the algorithm or whatnot would get more people to a video that's negative. But I kind of feel like us as people are probably more inclined to click on a video or an article that's written in that's titled in a negative light because I feel like if you see something that you like and someone writes something negative about it, you want to go defend it, right? So you'll be the first one there to defend that whatever was written in the article. And also, if you're someone who just hates stuff and you see something where someone else hates something, you'll probably want to be the first person there to pile on. That I kind of understand because if you write your title or your thumbnail and it's in a positive light, I mean, I would go to it because I want to read about things I like. Um, but I don't think the majority of people might rush to that article, because you could see it and be like, oh, they like this too. That's cool. But you probably still will get the people who hate it to go in to argue with you. Andres, how's it going? Greetings from Cali, Colombia. Colombia must be so nice right now. Hey, Andrew. Oh, sorry. I thought it was another person. I'm going crazy. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm just introing with just some random thoughts about clickbait because I always see, in general, a lot of clickbait articles that are negative, but then I also see some where it's a negative clickbait. It is just genuinely straight out false. So not only are they trying to drive negative clicks, they're doing it with lies, which is odd that people don't like realize that they're lies. And the one that I see a lot, And I'll preface with saying I enjoy comic book movies, Marvel movies, DC movies, Sony Marvel. I loved Morbius. Morbius, I thought it was really cool. It could have been longer, but I enjoyed it. And I have that reaction somewhere on my channel. So I don't like really hate anything. I've done a lot of growing up. I used to be the person who would get offended if someone didn't like something that I liked, and that was not healthy. So for many years now, I've been a lot better. But I do enjoy Marvel movies more, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Um, so it's odd when I see larger channels or just big publications in general write an article and like the title is something like why the MCU is failing or the downfall of the MCU or things like that. And it just that doesn't make sense to me because they'll post like box offices of the most recent movies like Ant-Man and the Wasp and Black Widow and what else? Eternals, etc., right? They'll always pick, the older movies from a couple of years ago that came out during COVID, and then they'll pick Ant-Man and they'll say, "Oh, Marvel is in a downfall, Marvel's in a spiral. What are they going to do to get back?" And I'm not here to say Marvel has to get back as number one. They don't. They just have to keep making their movies and their shows, et cetera, et cetera. And this, again, isn't about the quality, whether you like them or not. But friggin' Spider-Man No Way Home made $2 billion. No one talks about that when they write these articles. And then Guardians of the Galaxy made, I think, $900 million. No one talks about that. Everyone talks about how terrible they think Thor Love and Thunder is, which is fine. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But no one talks about Ragnarok opened in China, and I think Ragnarok made 850 million. Everyone enjoyed that movie. Everyone praised the box office. Thor Love and Thunder, I think made 700 million or 750 million, did not open in China. So if that would have opened in China, it would have made probably the exact same amount of money as Ragnarok, but people like to label it as a box office bust. It wasn't. The one other Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania obviously made, I think, I don't know, 450 million. Let me just check this really fast. Just give me one sec. I should have had it up, but Quantumania box office. All right, worldwide, Quantumania made $476 million. Okay, so it's not, I don't like to say it's not a lot of money. $476 million for a movie is a lot of money, but for a Marvel movie, people will say it's a failure because I guess the movie cost like 200 million to make. But what I don't think a lot of people realize about Ant-Man in general is Ant-Man is a product of the Avengers, meaning phase one didn't work. We don't get phase two, three, four, five, et cetera, et cetera. If phase one and two, the Avengers and Captain America Civil War didn't make $1.5 billion, $2 billion, there is no way we're getting Ant-Man. The only reason why we got Ant-Man was because all the other movies made so much money, right? Ant-Man is not a billion-dollar franchise. Ant-Man is only here because of the billion-dollar franchises. So how much money do you expect Ant-Man to make? Ant-Man is not a billion-dollar movie. I don't think it's a $700 million movie or an $800 million movie. I think $500 million is an Ant-Man box office, like 500, 600. This one didn't get there, obviously, but the main reason I think why this would be considered a flop is because it costs so much to make. You know what I'm saying? Ant-Man and the Wasp, I believe, made 650, and I could pull this up right now. Ant-Man and the Wasp, 622. So it made like 180 million more. 622 is really good for Ant-Man. And yeah, they probably expected Quantumania to make a little bit more because of Kang and everything. And then the original Ant-Man made, I think, 500. Let's see. That's not what I want. I just want Ant-Man box office. Sorry. Ant-Man. That's the Wasp. I think it's 476. No, that's Quantumania. I don't know why it's not coming up. Okay. Ant-Man 1 made 519. So this franchise is probably averaging $500 million. But again, it's because it costs so much money. But again, I don't understand how much they expect Ant-Man to make. I mean, I like Batman, I like Superman, I like Wonder Woman. People like to claim, one, how great those movies are. I enjoy them. They're good, they're fine. And then they always want to say how they are like humongous box office successes. They're three of the four most popular characters in the world: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Spider-Man. And none of them made $1 billion. Batman vs Superman was basically a Justice League movie. Didn't make $1 billion. Superman, I love that movie. Actually, that's my favorite DC movie. Didn't make $1 billion. And then what was the other one? Justice League. Didn't make $1 billion. But people talk about Ant-Man. All right, I don't know. I went 10 minutes on this. This wasn't really what I wanted to talk about, but it doesn't look like many people are here yet to really deep dive into Community. So I could transition into talking about some of the new content that's coming. So now I could pull this up. All right. As you might know, if you're watching this, you obviously follow my channel because I don't think many other people will be getting this feed. You saw today the Brooklyn Nine-Nine reaction to the pilot dropped. So, new show, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I started it last week. I actually watched episode 2 today, and that's posting to Patreon. When is that posted to Patreon? Oh, actually, it posted today. So, the full reaction to episode 2 of Brooklyn Nine-Nine is up on Patreon now. And then the YouTube version, I already edited it. It's already set to go up next Thursday. Every show that I watch, whether it's Community, Atlanta, we'll be doing The Shadows, anything, I always give three episodes before I, continue or quit. And it's because most of the shows that I like and some of the shows that I love, the pilots aren't always great. For example, one of my favorite shows is Parks and Rec. I don't think that has a great pilot episode. I don't think that has a great first season, but it was funny enough, and I enjoyed the characters and the people who play them, where I stuck through it. And everyone just, they told me the series was good. And after episode 1 and season 1, it was great. So going back to Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it has one of the best pilot episodes I've ever watched. So I don't even think it's going to take me 3 episodes because I really loved episode 1. And today, episode 2 was freaking hilarious. So I cannot wait to get into Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So there's no surprise that Brooklyn Nine-Nine will be taking my Thursday slot. So Monday, we have Community. Wednesday is Atlanta. Thursday is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Friday is What We Do in the Shadows. Atlanta, I have five more episodes for season 3, then 10 for season 4, and then they're done. So 15 weeks, my Tuesday slot is gone. When that happens, I might move Brooklyn Nine-Nine to Wednesday. And then I'll have Community, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And by that time also, What We Do in the Shadows is going to be done. So I think Our Flag Means Death, when that drops, will probably take over my Friday slot. So eventually it's going to be Community on Mondays, Brooklyn Nine-Nine Wednesdays, Our Flag Means Death on Friday. And then I know Disenchantment is coming out September 1st. I don't know if a lot of you watched that. Disenchantment is another one of my favorite shows, animated, Matt Groening, Simpsons, Futurama, etc. That's on Netflix, and they usually drop that whole entire series at once. Karina, yes. Elfo, pow pow on the bum bum, always. Um, so I am considering reacting to Disenchantment. The only problem is sometimes I just want to enjoy the show, and that's why I have a tough decision to make whether I want to, because then it'll get me back to 4 shows, and that's a lot. It would have Community, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Our Flag Means Death, Disenchantment, and then I have a 5th show that I don't watch this every week. I watch it whenever I can. It's a show from the BBC. I think it aired January of last year, called Toast of Tinseltown, and I just actually put my reaction to episode 4 up yesterday. Many of you probably haven't heard of Toast of Tinseltown, but have you heard of Matt Berry, who plays Laszlo in What We Do in the Shadows? And he plays Mortimer the Pig in Disenchantment. I think everyone knows Matt Berry. He's so funny, great actor. He's the lead in Toast of Tinseltown. He plays Stephen Toast. The first 3 seasons was called Toast of London, took place in London, obviously. This season, he comes to California, Tinseltown, because he's promised a role in the new Star Wars movie. So it's really funny. And like I said, whenever I want to watch it, that's when I'll react to it, and then I'll post it when I can, because it's not like a dedicated edit. To get it on Patreon is easy. That's a full reaction. I don't really have to do much, but it takes time to put it on YouTube. So with that being said, the new shows that'll be going up in the next couple of months: Brooklyn Nine-Nine started today. Our Flag Means Death, I believe that's October. Maybe Disenchantment in September, but probably not. And then here and there, Toast of Tinseltown. So that's the new stuff coming, along with my first time watching movie reactions. I did The Mummy on August 1st for Patreon. So sometime around the middle of the month, I'll have the YouTube edit for The Mummy, the original Mummy movie, this month. And then I'll throw up another poll, so we'll see which movie I'll watch for the first time starting September 1st. And then I may also have, if I could find time, a Patreon only reaction. And right now, I think that's going to be The Blacklist. I have a patron who they pay for a tier that every month they could tell me any show, any episode, and I have to watch it and react to it, which is cool because I get to watch things I probably normally wouldn't. So Blacklist was one, White Collar was one, and I remember Burn Notice was one. So I watched the pilots to all of them. I obviously can't do them all, but I really, really like The Blacklist. I love James Spader. And then a couple of days ago, someone joined my Patreon and they really like The Blacklist. So I might do The Blacklist just for Patreon. Again, that's easy. Just watch it. It takes me 10 minutes to edit it for Patreon and I'm done. So there's a lot of stuff. What else do I have? Oh, Loki's coming up again. So that's another show. I probably won't have time to do it. And I don't think that I'm going to react to Loki, only because I reacted to Secret Invasion and I did not get a lot of views. So for someone who has not much time, I don't want to put up videos that no one wants to watch. Maybe as I grow, if people get here and they enjoy more of the Marvel content, I'll post more. But as of now, I don't really get many hits on my Marvel shows and stuff like that. That's why I don't really do Marvel movies or the shows. Even The Mandalorian, when it's out, it's the most popular show on TV or streaming pretty much, and I could not get anyone to watch my Mandalorian videos. So I think I'll draw a bigger crowd now that I have Community, because I get tons of views on that. Thank you. And I think Brooklyn Nine-Nine also has a pretty huge following. So those two shows will probably get me some more views, hopefully more subs, and more people watch my other videos. I'm pretty disappointed about Atlanta because it's one of, it might be in my top two shows of all time. So good. It's, I don't know, they just outdo themselves every episode. And that's another one that no one really watches on my channel. But I love it so much that I'm not going to stop. That I want to, I'm going to finish it anyway, but I want to finish my reactions to it because it's so good. And if my video gets like 30, 40, or 50 views, that's 30 or 40 or 50 people who also love this show, and I want to share my joy with them. So that's what we got. But yeah, when Atlanta ends and what we do in the shadows ends, and Our Flag Means Death is probably going to be only 8 episodes, 8 or 10. Those will be quick, so I'm going to have to swap some things in. So the only 2 shows I really have that I know will be for the foreseeable future is Community and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think I have like, I don't know, 70 episodes left of Community, so maybe a year and a half. That'll take me through to next year. Hopefully by the time the movie comes out, I'm done. And then Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I think that's 8 seasons, so that's probably over 100 episodes. So that'll probably be like 2 years. So my Mondays and Wednesdays will probably be set for now. And then when some of the other shows are done and I have to wait for the next season, I'll just have to lean on you guys to tell me or give me some options on some really, I like doing comedies actually. So some really funny shows or cult following shows. Atlanta is a serious show, but they also mix in comedy. Like no other show I've really seen can make you shocked and in awe of an episode for like the first 90% of it, and then make you crack up laughing somehow in the last 5 minutes. Or they'll make you enjoy the first 90 minutes of it and you're laughing because it's a funny comedy and it's so silly, and then something crazy happens at the end. I don't know. Atlanta just always does it. Okay. So we talked about my little Marvel spiel. We talked about some of the new stuff. We're at 6:23. I could start talking about Community, but let me just check something out. Oh, Kind Assassin asks, am I doing any Star Wars shows? I talked a little bit about that a couple of minutes ago. I don't usually do them because no one watches my Star Wars videos. The pilot of The Mandalorian, the most recent, not the pilot, the first episode of this most recent season of The Mandalorian, I don't know, I think I got like 10, I don't know, like 15 views, 30 views, something like that. So no one really watches it, which is odd. It seems like a lot of people search for Community, but they find me. And when people search for The Mandalorian, they don't really find me because I bet all of the huge, huge, huge channels do The Mandalorian, and when you search for it, they all show up. So we'll see though. I know Ahsoka is coming out. I'm gonna watch it, but maybe the Kind Assassin will react to Ahsoka, or maybe do a review. Anyway, All right, I guess I could talk a little bit about this week's episode of Community. So this week, meaning literally this week, Monday, I posted Community Season 2, Episode 15, Early 21st Century Romanticism. Okay. So this was the first episode after, whatchamacallit, what was it called? Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. So it was an episode where I personally needed it to be funny. After how crazy Dungeons and Dragons was, and they did not disappoint. So I'm not good at synopsises and stuff, so I just have the Wikipedia up and I'll just read the plot. Like I know the plot, but reading it'll be easier. So obviously in the beginning, the group is concerned over Pierce's pill usage, which I have to admit, is a really good recurring theme of this season. Sometimes they do something and you forget about it, but they've been good with that. Annie wants to do an intervention. Jeff does not want to do it, so there's infighting within the group. And it's Valentine's Day, so everyone's going to the Valentine's Day dance. Jeff, I believe, was supposed to go, and because of this, he doesn't. He meets up with Dr. Duncan about the Liverpool soccer game, and they talk, and they're like, "All right, we'll watch the game at your house." So, Dr. Duncan, Jeff, their plans are to watch the game at Jeff's apartment, and everyone else will go to the dance. While this is happening, Troy and Abed see a gorgeous librarian that is in view from their study group, and this is one of the most adorable things I've seen in TV where, and I always say that probably the best example of best friends I've ever seen. The way they act together, the way they like love each other, and also the way they fight and make up. But they were both really digging this librarian. And usually it'll be like, I'll talk to her first. Blah. After I'm done, I'll go, you go talk to her and we'll see who she wants to take out. But they're so like, their bond is so close. They go talk to her together, basically telling them what's going on. We're best friends. We're both into you. And we just want you to pick who you like best. And she says, I can't just pick, I don't know you. I can't just pick one of you to take. So Abed comes out with the idea, okay, take us both to the dance, and whoever you have a better time with, that's who you choose. So that's their plans. And then we have Britta, has a new, not best friend, but she thinks a new best friend in a character named Paige, played by Britt Marling. So it seems like Britta is only really friends with her because she's a lesbian, and Britta wants to she seems like she wants to feel all high and mighty that she's so okay with it. And she says that a couple of times, like, if you have to tell somebody, um, it's hard, how can I put this? The way she was talking to Annie, like, oh, Annie, if you have to ask that question, you probably are homophobic. Like, no one says that. We're all normal people. If we have gay friends, lesbian friends, we don't talk about it. It's just, that's my friend. And you hang out, and that's all there is to it. You don't really listen to what people say just to make yourself feel better, I guess. But that seems like that's how they're writing Britta this season, which is odd because she wasn't written that way in season 1. Anyways, Britta's new friend is a lesbian. Then, long story short, and also before I talk more, this episode and the episode I just watched, the next one, they didn't do a lot with Shirley in it. She didn't get much time in this episode. But anyways, and that's kind of ironic that I'm kind of cutting her out, but there's not much to talk about Shirley from this episode. So we get to the dance, and then we have Jeff's apartment. Now, try to go as quick as possible. At the dance, Troy and Abed, they're talking to the librarian and asking questions. Hey, what's going on, Jay? And basically, Abed is talking about, I forgot what show he was talking about. Oh, shoot. Lost, I think. I think Abed was basically explaining Lost for 2 hours. And the thing that Troy did, he was like, if you get with me, you'll have this. And he starts dancing. So that's really all they show. Abed goes to get drinks. The girl picks Troy. And this is where I thought was really cool and how they do things different than other shows. A lot of shows, the trope would be Troy would be so happy and take the girl on a date, and Abed would get jealous and mad, and they would fight, and eventually they would, get back together as friends. Like, that's typically what happens. That's what I wasn't expecting that because these two characters are not written that way. So she picks Troy, And again, Abed's not mad. He came back with the drinks. He's Troy said, Abed, she picks me. So all he says is, "Oh, here, like you'll need this." And he gives him the drink, and Abed leaves, which is fine. He didn't seem sad. He just felt happy for Troy, which they always are happy for each other. And then he leaves. And then Troy's expression wasn't joy, delight. I saw it as when she picked him, his first emotion was sadness for Abed. And that is beautiful. That's just how they are. And then Troy asks her, straight up, why did you choose me? And he wasn't asking it to hear good things about himself. I feel like he more wanted to know why she didn't choose Abed. And, you know, he asked, why did you choose me? And she didn't tell him why she chose him. She basically said why she didn't choose Abed, because she said, oh, he talked about Lost for 2 hours. Isn't that kind of weird? And Troy had a pretty funny response. He says something like, of course, Lost was 8 seasons. Of course, it's going to take 2 hours, And then that's when he runs out and finds Abed in the hallway. And he's like, she thought you were weird. And he's like, I am weird. And then Troy says, not as weird as her, whatever. And, they hug and they're friends as always. Like, that's an awesome friendship written in a show. It was amazing. And I think Troy's the one. He's like, don't worry, buddy. We'll find somebody. I believe that was the same episode. And then, of course, we find out that Britta and Paige both like each other because they both think the other person's a lesbian. And it's funny because, I mean, they make them kiss in the episode, but it's more of like, oh, it's just like a silly friend thing. You're a lesbian, I'm straight. It's just a kiss. Like, let's just shock the people here. And then I think Britta's like, I've never done this before. And Paige is like, me neither. And that's when they're like, wait a second, you're not a lesbian? And that was pretty funny how they each thought the other one was. But then Paige got really mean. She straight up said, I don't think you're cool. I was only your friend because I thought you were a lesbian. That was messed up. But I guess that's how you do a one-off character. And then that was the last we saw. And the last piece is Jeff and Dr. Duncan watching the soccer game. So it was all normal until Senor Chang shows up. The fact that there's basically another Britta and Annie at the school. Oh, man. Oh, I forgot to mention the part where Annie like goes in to kiss Britta out of like solidarity. But they're watching the soccer game and Chang shows up, kind of invites himself in. And you get the feeling it's just Chang just being annoying. That's kind of his new character since he's not a professor anymore. And I have to say, my favorite version of Chang is Senor Chang as a professor, because he could be annoying as a professor, but he also holds leverage as being above the rest of the cast or the rest of the characters. And I used to really like that dynamic. But he gets in there and he's watching, and then slowly you find out he has an ulterior motive, that he was kicked out, he needs someplace to stay. So he basically invites the whole school over. It's the first time, I think it's the first time we meet Magnitude, which a lot of you out there have told me a lot about him. And he was actually in the episode that I saw today about the when they were running for a school president and Magnitude was running, and all he said was pop pop. So that was pretty funny. So he invites Starburns and everyone there. And then, he's washing his clothes in the dishwasher. He has his sleeping bag in the oven. He has his hermit crabs in the bathroom. So he's like slowly but surely trying to stay. you feel like it's going to be a night or two, but he's thinking more like 3 months, so something long term. And Jeff was angry as I think he should be, because you should never be inviting yourself to stay with someone. So I, a lot of people who watch my videos know that I do enjoy Jeff now, but I do call him out when he's being a jerk. And I usually lean not in his favor, but in this one, I was 100% on Jeff's side. You can't do that. Like, if you're Chang, all you really need to do is go up to him straight up and tell him, listen, I'm having struggles, man. I really would appreciate it if I could stay with you for a couple months. I think Jeff would have been like, okay, most likely. But Jay said Jeff actually grows a bit. I mean, he's grown a lot since obviously the first 5 episodes. But the way I see it is from the end of season 1 to now where I am, he definitely has grown. Like, you could see him grow little by little. But from maybe episode 5, 6, 7, 8 to the end of season 1, they just wrote him different. Like, they did his arc so fast. I wouldn't consider that like growth. I feel like they just wanted to change it a little bit and just make him less of a jerk, but he's definitely progressed since then. Jay said, well, good luck telling anyone who invites themselves over to leave. They are already committed to not leaving. I mean, that's true. And especially if it's someone like Chang, I guess, where like I don't think anyone hates him. They particularly probably wouldn't want to hang out with him if they had a choice, but they definitely all feel like he's annoying, obviously. Boom, Howard, what up? Yo, out at dinner, we'll catch the replay in a bit. Oh, thank you. I mean, enjoy your dinner, and I really appreciate you hopping on to say hi while you're eating. What are you eating anyway? I'm interested, because after this, I think I need some food. Yeah, so they're watching the game. Basically, he kicks Chang out, and I'm wrapping this up really quickly. He carries him back into the apartment, and eventually he lets him stay. But the part of the episode that I enjoyed outside of Troy and Abed was at the end where, and I'm paraphrasing, Jeff basically tells Duncan, like, our group is so much fun, everyone, we have so much fun together, we like each other, we, look at all the voicemails and texts they probably sent me. Like, Jeff is thinking that even though everyone is out at the party, that they have, maybe they're not having so much fun and they have time to just text Jeff and call him the whole night. So I thought it was really cool where he kind of got a slap in the face where, yeah, the group is really close. They are really good friends, but they're at a party. Like, they're not on their phones. They can have fun without you. It doesn't mean you're not part of the crew, You're not always going to be together. And when you're not, you don't always have to be texting the other person in your group over and over and over, especially since you see each other every day in college, whenever you have that time, alone or just with a couple of people from the group, like, you don't always have to be texting when you're doing something. So I thought that was a good sign of, for me anyway, it obviously made me feel like they do love each other. They are really close, but, they're not like addicted to each other. Jay says Duncan is so underutilized as a character. I definitely said that. I don't remember when, but it was after season 1, the beginning of season 2, and everyone told me um, the same thing basically, and it makes sense that John Oliver just had a lot more shit to do. I know he took over. I don't know when, but he took over one of those late night shows, so he was doing a lot, and I guess he couldn't be in a lot of episodes, but his character is so like sparing, or he's sprinkled throughout sparingly, that I can't really not I don't really connect to him because I want so much more of him, and it's hard to give someone an arc when you only see them once every, I don't know, 5 episodes. So he's someone who he really hasn't changed, and I don't actually think he's a character that needs to change because he's not a great person, but he's not a shitty person. Like, he was an alcoholic, that's how they explain his behavior when he was teaching. um, he had a problem. He had an addiction. He was an alcoholic. So, I mean, it doesn't give you an excuse to be an ass or a jerk to people, but it explains why he was. So now he's supposed to be sober, and he's still snarky, and, he talks to people um, out of the side of his mouth sometimes, but I don't think he's inherently bad, and I don't think he's inherently good. I think he's just a person. Um, let's see. Jay said it's like John Oliver wanted to be on the cast but had zero time. Yeah, he has. Yeah, last week tonight. That's the one. He won a few news awards. I didn't know that. They say him and Jeff knew each other, but they truly never try to deeply explain how. You know what? That's a good observation because yes, in the very first episode, they did. I don't remember if they inherently told us that they knew each other, but you are right. I think they acknowledged each other, right? When he first walked into the office, so long ago. That's why I can't wait to finish so I could rewatch the season again. But oh, he has to show up in the movie. If if they're doing 6 seasons in a movie, I think they get as many people as they can back. Unfortunately, they can't get Leonard, but I'm sure they'll get John Oliver, and they'll get Magnitude, Starburns, I'm sure. Everyone, I'm assuming. Yeah, but I don't know, it makes it sound like they're college buddies. Yeah, that's the way I felt too, because yeah, they talked like they knew each other, and they were talking like they were more than just familiar with each other. Like, not that they maybe met somewhere sometime through a mutual friend and they were like, "Oh, I remember you." Like, it didn't come off like that. It did come off like they've known each other for a long time. And they're both, I believe, supposed to be around the same age in the show. So it leads you to believe that, yeah, they probably knew each other from college. Maybe not the exact same college, but maybe they lived near each other. But it makes more sense that they went to the same school because, I mean, there are people who live here, obviously, who have accents, but do they ever mention that Duncan grew up in Britain and moved here? I don't know if they ever did or if they do, but I guess you could connect the dots in the timeline. Um, Good question, because they did acknowledge that he got a fake law degree. So yeah, he did not go to law school. Um, yeah, and they never explained if he actually went to college. But, and again, shows aren't reality. Community colleges, depending, I don't know how they are anymore. There's 2 year and they're 4 year. I'm guessing Greendale is a 4 year community college, like a regular one, because if it was a 2 year community college, usually you go there in order to get into a bigger college. Or I think if you went to a bigger college and you didn't like it, you would transfer to a 2 year to complete your studies. I believe that's how it works. So Jeff didn't go to college, so he's not completing anything. And he wouldn't go to a 2 year to try to get his degree again because you're not going to get a law degree in 2 years at a community college. So I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this. They always do the most colleges of 4 years. Now, not two, because people will give Jeff crap. I'm interested to see because, yeah, now I don't even know, but now I'm like really overthinking a TV show's college curriculum. But we can agree he never went to law school. That's a fact. Oh man. What else do I have? It's so much it's so much more fun to go through these shows when everyone is here because I was basically just describing the episode, but last week it was more fun because people were like punching in their favorite parts of the episode, and then we could talk about it. But maybe next week we'll get more people. Jay said, "This is a show you can overthink and underthink about same time." Yeah, it is. One thing that I got from the episode I watched today, it was the debate episode, and that reaction I believe is next week. Um, I don't want to say I don't like. It's not like the word, but in that episode there was basically, and they're running for student body president, and Jeff basically just does it on spite. And things happen, and they talk at the end, and Annie apologizes. I don't really think she needed to apologize. I don't like that when people do things wrong to her, that she's the one who feels she did something wrong and then ends up apologizing. It's like, oh, we both shouldn't have done this. We're friends, right? Like, I don't like that. Especially with next week's episode, because she really wanted to run. And then, Jeff basically screwed it up on purpose. Anyways, yeah, just brought next week with a couple of posts and heads up. I did it this week. Probably not as much as I should have. I feel like I need to do it more on Twitter, YouTube posts, because I have way more subs on YouTube than I have followers on Twitter. So maybe I know I do put it as premiering, so it's always on my page as this is premiering. So when this is done, I'm going to post next week's as a premiere. So, I mean, I understand people have more important things to do than watch a live stream for an hour. You don't have to apologize for forgetting it's Thursday. People just have things to do. So it's no big deal. Like, I never expect there to be 1,000 people on, but last week was perfect because I think in total, I think I got 25, but it was like people would come, talk, leave, more people would come. Like, that's cool. As long as there's like 5, 10 people on at the same time, shuffling in and out, we get to talk for an hour. That's fine by me. I enjoy that. Doot, doot, doot. But if I check on, oh no, what did I do with it? I want to see if I go into the studio, like today, 2 concurrent viewers, 9 views in total. So this week was uh, this week was a bust, but no biggie. What's for dinner? That's a good question. We had kebabs and rice for lunch, and I don't think because we're gonna be in Mexico next week, so we didn't go grocery shopping, so we don't have food just sitting around for a week. So I don't know if I have anything to actually make today. Might have to go out and pick something up. But so yeah, next week on Thursday, might be live streaming from Mexico. We're just going for a week, but we're working. It's like a work vacation, so we're gonna be working from there. That's why I've been busy today and yesterday. I've been recording and reacting to every video I need for next week, and I'm posting them because I'm not going to be able to react next week. So I already have a couple of Patreon videos set to release Sunday night and then Thursday morning. And then I think I have to watch Atlanta tomorrow and then, do it all so I don't have to record over there. Screen Sanctum tries to survive with limited Spanish live. Oh, I can't, but my girlfriend can. So I'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. And then I think in a month I'll be in New York. So that should be fun too. It's just a pain sometimes having to knock out like 4 videos in 2 days. It's tiring, especially editing for YouTube, but not bad. Oh, what I wanted to do before, which I forgot, was I was going to screen share the article I was reading, which was just off of Wikipedia. I was reading off of this. Pretty much has everything. But next week, maybe, I should do more stuff like that. Jay said, how bad was 99 with the copy claims? Oh, man. So I don't want to say I figured it out because there's no figuring it out, but when I cut the Brooklyn Nine-Nine pilot, um, so I uploaded it and they said this section was claimed, right? And then you could, in YouTube, just cut it. And then when it's done, it either is fine or it says, oh, this section is claimed. And then you cut it. And then it's fine or it's, oh, a new set. I don't understand why YouTube can't just figure out every portion that is claimed and tell you these are the 10 sections you have to fix. And I don't know if the AI that they use isn't good enough, but whatever. So basically, I think I did the auto cuts 6 times, right? And nothing was happening. I cut it down to like 13 minutes and nothing worked. So I said, listen, this isn't working. I have to go back into Final Cut and just cut it myself. So I went back into Final Cut and I looked through the whole entire my whole entire timeline. And I was like, what can I cut out that I don't need? So I was looking and I had, I think, 3 video clips that were between 9 and 10 seconds long, which is a lot. Usually my video clips are from 1 second to 7. Like I try to keep it 7 seconds max. 8-second clip, maybe once, but never 9 or 10. So all I did was I deleted every 10-second clip and I re-uploaded it and it was fine. It is a guessing game, but this works for me. And it must work for a lot of people because I also notice a lot of people who do Brooklyn Nine-Nine reactions, their entire videos are usually 15 to 17 minutes. And that's it. So, yeah, it's true. It's hard, but I'd rather have it not struck than, lose some context. So I try to keep, like, I just try to make sure that if I'm laughing at something, you know what the joke was. Or if they reference something, you know what they're referencing. So it's hard. It is difficult to do, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do to get it up, right? So, but again, Community's been easier to cut. Atlanta's pretty easy to cut. And what we do in the shadows has been easy to cut. I very, very rarely get claims. The last Atlanta claim I got wasn't even a copyright. I think it was a claim because of the content. It was the episode of Atlanta where they celebrate Christmas overseas. I forgot where they were, but it was another blackface episode. But this was literally blackface, and it was how they celebrated Christmas. I think I got a content warning, but well, that's what he said. Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is so much fun though. It's so much fun. I like cutting movies too, because there's so much dead space in movies, and there are actually also a lot of people who they'll do like movies that are 3 hours long. Well, not 3 hours, like 2 hours long, and their reactions like 45 minutes. Like they cut a lot out because usually you talk for a minute in the beginning and 5 to 10 minutes at the end. So that's 15 minutes. That means that there's 30 minutes of movie. That means they cut out an hour and a half. That's a lot. But it all depends. Like I said, my first cut is what I want to show. And then if it gets claimed, then like I'm really not going to sit there for another hour meticulously cutting it. If the first one gets a strike or a claim, then I just go back and cut it. I mean, also me as a person who puts these videos up, I I do want people to get context out of these YouTube videos, but also if you really like these videos and you want to like watch along to the whole thing, then there's my Patreon. Gotta love how some people post whole episodes and nothing, and others have a tiny clip and boom. Fair use is so confusing, and I'm not saying this as a diss. I'm saying this as a fan. New rock stars, when they do their breakdowns, I think maybe it's because they don't use the audio, but when they're explaining a movie, and maybe Heavy Spoilers does it as well, when they're explaining something, they're playing like a whole scene in the background while they're talking over it. And it could be because there's no sound, but I think it could also be because that is, I believe, a literal use of fair use, is where you're like teaching or explaining something. Reactions, I think they should be fair use, but in the guidelines of how they describe it, it's so vague, you know, because we're just watching a show together. But probably audio gets most. Music, is easy. Oh, music. I got. Oh, which one was it? My last Atlanta. So Atlanta uses a lot of music, and they use music well. Most of the time, they use it at the end of the show and at the beginning. But the last episode I did, they were playing a song, and I usually catch all the music in Atlanta because it's usually very prominent. But I didn't catch this. It was really low. It was a scene where the two guys are talking, and it's just them sitting in a lounge, and it's really quiet. And you could barely even hear the music, but it got caught. So that one was easier because on YouTube, you could either cut out the whole section, like just clip it. You can cut out all of the audio and you just see the video. But then in beta, they have a thing where you could just, I don't know how they do it, but you only remove the song and it keeps like my voice and the voice. It was so cool. So I did that and it was fine. Um, Jay said a lot of creators hate it because they blame reactors for stealing their views, but that's not really the case, as research would show. A lot of people wouldn't see your content if not for others showing it. I mean, talk shows exist for a reason. Um, are you saying a lot of creators hate reaction videos, like the creators of the actual show? They think instead of someone watching the episode, they'll just watch a breakdown or a reaction? That would be kind of crazy. Because, like you said, all we're really doing is showing more people your TV shows that might not really see it otherwise, I guess. Because there's shows that I've watched because I've watched reaction videos and I'm like, wow, this show is really good. I'm going to go watch it. There's been a debate, but yeah, shows too, they just want the sales. I mean, I guess. Oh, well, looks like it's 7 o'clock and my allotted time has come to an end. Um, I had fun as always. I know not as many people hopped on this week as last week. You live, you learn. Does maybe that means, I mean, I'll give it a full month of weekly, so 2 more weeks. And then I don't know if I don't get too many views the next couple of weeks, maybe I'll either do it every other week. And then if that doesn't work, maybe once a month. But we'll see. Hopefully, I get a lot more views on my channel from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and that hopefully brings more subs and more people to watch other content and more people to the live streams. But Jay and the Kind Assassin, I always know you guys will be here. So that's all I have. I really do got to get going. So no problem, anytime. And you guys will see me and the Kind Assassin on Friday with our What We Do in the Shadows reaction. I believe it's episode 5. That the show's halfway done already. Like 5 more weeks and the season's over. I will be eating, Jay. I will hit you up on Discord probably within the hour. We'll chat. So thanks, everybody. I will see you. What's today? Today is Thursday. Oh, yeah. So tomorrow, hopefully, we'll get Shadows up early. So peace, guys.